If you wanna stay with me, if you wanna try, maybe you could be with me, but only for the night.
Good evening and welcome. This is Anime Analyst. I am your host, Thomas Fry.
And this is Hasnan Zedi, the co-host with Anime Analyst.
And
We're so
don't mind him
excited.
tonight. He's off in La La Land. I don't know what that was about, but we all have those moments. And I just like giving him shit for him. That's all there is. All right, tonight we do not have an anime. We don't normally even stream on Saturday, but we figured we would do something special for you. So hopefully we grabbed your attention with the shows that we've put on so far. And you can laugh at me because of my about 1 minute screw up last night where I couldn't seem to remember what I was talking about. That happens every once in a while. It happens to the best of us. But tonight is all about us talking to you about us. So let me kill the volume on this. Boom. Okay. Sorry, that way I can watch as someone's chatting up because I don't have the chat box running on OBS or on Restream. I completely forgot we need to monitor the chat room tonight, or I need to monitor it. You normally monitor it, and I need to monitor it in case the questions are directed at me, and I completely forgot to start all that stuff, so I had to hurry up and bring it on YouTube and silence it in hopes that we won't get any feedback through the mics or anything. So, as usual, we are on the ball tonight. So, all right. Tonight is all about introducing you to us. So, me and Hussein met about, what's it been, 3 years now? Or close
Yes,
to it?
close to 3 years now.
Okay,
I
we
think
met.
because this is the second birthday we are having today. This is your second birthday.
Ah, okay. Yes. Um, we met about 3 years ago with a company I owned called Black Ice Trucking. And I had a hot shot truck where I pulled a 36-foot trailer with, I had two trucks. The first one on the very first load, I made it from Florida to Atlanta, Georgia, and blew the transmission out from under it. So, way go me, I broke the truck on the very first. It wasn't even loaded. If it was loaded, I could, but. So I pulled into this Dodge dealer, and because that's just where I was at when I broke down. Off the highway was a Dodge dealer, so that was the only parking lot that was big enough to pull the truck and trailer in. And I didn't want to talk to the salesman. I'm in a bad mood. I just broke my truck, and it's, I just sank, I think, like $5,000 into the truck the month before, getting it ready. And it just completely fell apart on the very first trip. So I pull in, I'm at this Dodge dealership, and the salesman comes out, and he's, trying to talk to me, and I'm trying to talk to the transmission shop on the phone, and I just wanted him to go away. And I turn around, and he just wouldn't stop asking me questions. He's like, well, what can I help you with? And I'm like, well, I kind of broke down, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, I need a diesel. There was a beautiful white Dodge crew cab 2500 with the new 6.7 Cummins in it. And I said, look, if you can get me financed on that, I'll buy it. Other than that, let me get dealing with the tranny shop and get a tow truck up here and figure out what I'm going to do with the trailer while I'm getting the truck fixed. And he came out about 10 minutes later with just my name and birth date and said, yeah, we got you financed. And I'm like floored. I'm like, what? I'm like, is it that easy to buy a truck nowadays? So I went in, and sure enough, by 7 p.m., I had that truck. But there was a problem. There wasn't the proper hitch that I needed in the back. So Atlanta's 8 hour drive, and I didn't feel like driving back. And he said it would take him, 3, 4 days to get a hitch put in it. So I went and grabbed a hotel, and I sat in Atlanta, Georgia for the week because I'm too lazy to drive back to Florida. And I finally got the hitch in on Friday. It was supposed to originally be done on Wednesday, but I finally got it done and got the hitch on there. And I think I don't even remember where the load was. I don't think that was the one all the way up in Michigan, but there was no, that wasn't that one. It was a different one. But I was bringing a plane back to Florida. That's why I was deadheading. I don't normally run north. It's hard to get loads when you're running north out of Florida, and so I just went empty because the guy that was paying me to bring these planes back was paying really good money. It was like almost $4 a mile. So if I got to run 800 miles dead, I didn't care. I mean, that was nothing but a couple $100 out of a big bill like that. And that's what started it. And I met him on that trip through a phone call that a salesman, I was trying to, figure out how I was going to get loads, and you happen to work for the company that got a hold of me on the phone. And I was like, yeah, I'll give you a shot. And they introduced me to Hussein and said, this is your dispatcher. And we kind of stuck it out for 6 months. And that was when you left the company. And we,
Yes, and I
uh,
think this was the time was when I just started the dispatch job because that the first career the company gave me after my training period was you.
yeah.
So I started my dispatch
So now you got a
career
couple of morons out here because I'm new to driving. I mean, I'm not new to driving truck, but I was new to hot shotting. I was new to getting my own loads all the time. My first hot shot company I had, it was all contract work. We were pulling cars out of the auction back to the dealership, and that kept 10 trucks busy constantly. I never had a chance to, so I just knew it was fun from the first time I did it, and it was so it was interesting learning how we work because I get kind of cranky when you're sitting 1,000 miles from home and you're trying to find a load, and you got to get a high enough pay, and it, it was a learning curve.
and I think we had many problems like when we started. Like I remember we have a phone call and we started everything and I gave you load and you were on the road, and then I realized like I need the factoring details because I didn't know how to get payment, and that was the issue like
In the
first thing that we.
beginning, I don't know if you remember, you used to go on Google Maps and you were in the auto setting, like just driving a car, and you would look up how long it took me to get there, and you'd set up the next load for me when I should be there if I was in a car. Well, I have to take truck routes because I got commercial, which is a lot longer. They make you drive around, you're only allowed to drive down certain roads. So I could never make the time he'd set for me, and that would always cause an argument. Our arguments are always fun in the beginning. I didn't get mad. I'm sarcastic as hell. If y'all ain't figured that one out already, I get very sarcastic, and I am. It sounds like I'm raising my voice, even though I'm not, because I'm hard of hearing. So I can get real loud on a cell phone. I know that for a fact, just because of all my friends through all my life. They're like, Tom, shh, quiet down. On this, my loud booming voice pays off because then you can always hear me on by the time it gets to YouTube. But yeah, we had some lively conversations on the phone
Yes.
in the beginning.
And like when we started working, and I was working for a company, and we were like I had 6 7 other dispatchers, and we were using the same line. and everything was recorded. And most of the time, I realize like what we are talking, everybody is sitting on that chat and they're reading it like what they are talking about. Like I have seen that like there are too many dispatchers, too many carriers, but they don't like make a relationship, like make a bond with the carrier. What they do, just send a good morning text, give the load and goodbye. But we were different, like we were
Oh
talking about
no,
each.
yeah, 3 4 hour conversations. I mean, if I've got a 6 hour run between um calls, we would end up talking on the phone the whole time.
Yes. And that was the thing that started all that, like all the things that we started and what we are doing right now, that was the start.
Yeah, and then you left Braun, and I remember Braun got mad at me because we had developed a friendship, so we stayed in contact after you left Braun. I was like, all right, so you left. They gave me a new dispatcher. I kept asking for you. I'm like, I don't want to work with anybody else. And they hand me another dispatcher, and he's like, this, blah, 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 blah. And he hang up. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to answer you, dumbass? I mean, so they wanted me to text my answer back in. No other dispatcher there would even want to know my name, let alone first name, last name, or the stuff that you and I would talk about. And it was just I was dumbfounded. I went through a bunch of other companies, and then I got a call from you probably 2 3 weeks later, and
Yeah, actually, when I left Braun, I didn't contact you directly for the thing like poaching you from there to work with me, because I didn't find that ethical. Because, but I had contact with the dispatchers, and first week he told me that this guy is working for you, and next week I talked to him, he said no, we pass on to another dispatcher. And I was thinking like what they are doing. And when he told me like you took a load by yourself, the thing that I realized, I knew because we worked a long time and you never took a load by yourself. Even if I was not able to get you a load, you would wait, where are you, and we you never took a load from anything. That's the thing I realized, that you have left them. And then I give you a call and told you that I have started my own company, and from there then we started this thing. But
and it
the
didn't take
Brown,
long after
they're still
that.
mad at me. They still thinks that I left their company and took a driver, but in
No.
the reality, their dispatcher was, and I remember like one of them even call you a moron by not taking a load from him, the load that he thought will be good for you. Because I always ask the load from you before I even book it, or I didn't find it's good or not, because you are the one on the road and you have to drive. I'm
Hey,
just sitting in the office.
the rule of thumb was $2 a mile. If I took anything less than $2 a mile, I couldn't make any money for the truck and trailer. There was no profit in it. It wasn't worth doing. And they're throwing these buck 20, buck 30 loads at me, thinking that I'm gonna jump on. They got pissed when I was like, if you don't even care about what my requirements are for what the loads are, I canned them. It didn't take one. I took one load, and they gave me another one that was just like it. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this crap. I'm like, I'll sit for a couple of days at a truck stop before I'll take a crappy load. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail on all this, but it was just kind of funny. And then it didn't take long after that to when we decided to make Black Ice Dispatch, and that was your gig, but I was supporting you on it. And now Black Ice Trucking is long dead, and Black Ice Dispatch has survived. Um, but you handed that stuff off to your cousin, and when I was not driving down the road, and the reason why we went into this story is because it has to do with the show we're doing now. When I wasn't driving down the road, and half the time when I was driving down the road, I would play them and just listen to them like a radio. I'm watching anime. When my truck was sit, I'm on the tablet or on the computer, and if you were to see, I should have loaded up some pictures of the inside of my truck because every cop DOT officer that saw it was like, yeah, was like, it looks like Space Command in there. You know, I had two computer screens this way. I had another tablet down here. I had a laptop sitting on top the center console. But I monitored what was going on with my truck at all times. I monitored at what's going on in the dispatch world. I monitored what was going on with my loads and with others. I was running those screens all the time. I kept my accounting books up on a separate tab. I wanted, you can't do anything without information. And then when I parked the truck, whether it was just for a couple hours, because when you're driving a truck, you got to stop every 4 or 5 hours for, a couple of hours out of a drive time. Well, I just stop all at once, and because I'm getting 5 anime um, shows in that 2 hours of just sitting there, and I would crawl in the back, and I had it all set up with my big 13-inch screen, and I'd just sit there and watch anime, and I'd watch them at sitting and waiting, because a lot of times I would go out 21 days at a time. Because I'll sit Friday to Sunday, I go sit at a truck stop somewhere. I mean, you take a shower at any pilot, there's truck stops all over where you can be completely comfortable. And it cost me about $20 in diesel to let the truck run all night if it was hot or cold, to keep all the temperatures comfortable in there, and then I'd sit and watch anime. And that was my whole thing. I made money and watched anime. I mean, I'm not married. I got no girlfriend. I like it that way. I'm done. I got 4 kids. So it was just, it fit. Anime to me is perfect because it keeps my mind busy, and I like the imaginations of the stories, and I like the stories, and I like a lot of the directors are really good, the voice actors are really good, and so it was easy to follow along in your head. And if you're watching us, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's easy to follow along in your mind the story that you're watching, to where, all right, they built this world properly. I understand this world. I understand the characters. I got enough backstory. Every anime should be at least 2 seasons. That's my, you got to do 24 shows, because you can't tell the proper backstory
I
if.
I used to watch anime as well, like when we met, but it was not like you. But I because I was looking everything, like I was looking TV shows, I was looking movies, but I was looking animes like which if my brother used to suggest to me. Like I think the first anime I started was Death Note, and then I watched Full Metal Alchemist, and then Attack on Titan. Like this was, but when we started to talking, and then I found out about Crunchyroll by you. Like you told me, like we can, because I was having too much issue to find animes ways to watch, because movie or TV show we can get it Netflix, or you can download and you can watch it. But now, and then we decided that we are going to do this show.
I have 2 main animes that I was Crunchyroll and High Dive, and like all manga's free, all animelist.net's free, so you can find out all the information you want um, through those. Kill your mic. I am getting some serious feedback from you. I can hear it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can also hear the background going on right now. Um, so yeah, I got him started more of an in-depth of, he was, you were just checking it out a little bit, but you enjoyed it. So I'm gonna, that was one of the things I talked about a lot because I loved anime so much. I mean, I'm an anime nut. Um, I I want I don't want to say how old I am, but it's my birthday today, and I don't care when I hit 70. I'm still gonna be watching anime. I like it. I was always into, even way back when I was younger, I was always into. I can't tell you how many books I've read. I mean, my library. I got rid of. Uh, I gave my library to a thrift store here about 15 years ago, and there was probably 1,000 books, and every one of them had bindings bent in them because I wouldn't just read a book once. Sometimes I wouldn't go back and read chapter one, or I even do that with anime. Once you when
I
a
think,
show
and I remember, like, do you remember, like, the first time I asked you, like, when you were at a truck stop, how do you pass your time? Like, what activities do you get there? And you told me, like, I have four screens in my truck and I have, like, multiple subscriptions. So I knew that, right? This is the conversation that can be started because
What'd
I
you
was
think
watching.
of me being a truck driver and I was watching anime at the beginning? Because I know that it just kind of dumbfounded you at the beginning. You was like, really? And I'm like, well, yeah, man. I mean, I got the space shuttle here. Why shouldn't I watch everything on there? I'm big into computers, and it made it perfect because I had four screens going down the road, and when I was stopped, I would get my other one. I would climb into the back seat and get one of my bigger laptops out so I could watch it. I had full high speed internet at all times. I never had a problem having high speed broadband, and that was one of our that was part of the conversation when I was telling you about it. And that was, I know I amazed you with that one because I'll still never forget that one. I was like, yeah, I got high speed broadband in my truck. I'm not missing anything. I was checking emails that you were sending them to me in real time going down the road because my internet worked. There were very few places in the country. I know I got stuck at a truck stop in West Virginia that the internet sucked. And I wanted to go down the road so bad. I didn't want to sit there. I was like, man, I got to find a bigger city so I can get, because I'm still stuck to wireless service. You can't, no matter how hard you try or no matter how bad you want something, that doesn't mean it's going to work. um, you have to, not all, you know, not all truck stops put the effort that the bigger truck stops put into in having wireless high speed internet available to you. I mean, at the time I was driving truck, I had three separate cell phone services through three different companies to make sure my broadband stayed live 24/7, no matter what highway I was on. With very few exceptions, I could catch my anime.
Oh, and do you find like more truckers on the truck stop like who are into anime, like you?
Most of the ones that, I would say half the truckers I met watched at least some portion of it. I mean, and the ones that didn't, when I would tell them how easy it was to, because I got into a lot of conversation with other truckers just about the amount of computers that I had in my truck and the fact that I had broadband. I'm like, well, I own the company. I'm on the road. I have to be able to, and granted, yeah, it's not necessary to take it to that level, but if you saw the computer I'm working from at home, I just left everything on my home computer. The computer in my truck operates the computer in my home. So I wasn't doing the stuff on the computers in my truck. I was doing it via the computer or via the
Mhm.
tablet in my truck and my computer. I used to I used to freak my family out all the time because they'd be sitting in the house. All of a sudden, my computer would at home would come alive. I'm 1,000 miles away, and it scared them a couple of times. They're like, I don't know why your computer just came on. I was like, Mom, I was using it. I could bring it out of sleep. I left everything. it saved on resources, and it didn't, no matter what happened, blackout, explosion, car accident, it didn't matter. I didn't lose anything because everything I did was on my big computer at home. It wasn't on the road. I just used that equipment to access my home computer, and it made it. Now, watching anime, a lot of times I just links. I didn't watch something at home unless I had it saved. But I would watch my hours that I spend on Crunchyroll is insane. I would go out when I'm here at home. I go out, and my truck's broke right now, so I have to go out and work on it. And we just had a tree hit the awning on the back, and in between going out and fixing all that, moving stuff around, and come back down, plop, watch anime. 10 minutes before the show, even when he's saying called tonight, I was watching the Dalian Bloom came out tonight. The Exploration Hero came out. The Sakura, the Harvest Goddess was out tonight. I'll watch the rest of them later, but when they come out on Crunchyroll, usually within 12 hours of them coming out, I see them. So I
Yeah, I
don't.
know, like because most of the time when I will call you, and instead of the camera, the Skype take me to the desktop screen, and I see some animes running on the background. So like most whenever I give you a call, and I can say like I'm pretty sure there somewhere will be a tab with the running anime that is on pause right now.
Yeah, I get teased a lot saying that when I go to heaven, God's going to set me up a tablet and my services to Crunchyroll and High Dive so I can keep up with my anime after I die. And yeah, I can believe that. I just always was a believer. If you're going to do something, do it right. Put 110% into whatever you're doing. And I don't care if that's eating, sleeping, watching. I don't own a TV. Everything is a computer screen to me, and um, YouTube. I guess YouTube was the start for me for getting into anime that heavy. Watching a whole because they put a whole season in 3.5 hours. Well, back when I started watching anime, it was it kept getting kicked off of booting off of YouTube. You only had that little 3 by 5 inch screen that was they had to have stupid things in front of it, and the people that were mixing them and stuff, they would leave part of the end, the intro on it, part of the exit on it, or some people would just you would have to sit through the entire intro and the entire outro every single and on a 3-4 hour video, it's hard to move that little thing, that itty bitty little amount. You got to move it to skip it. I end up screwing it all up and then missing a bunch of the anime. But when they're dubbed like that and I'm going down the road, I'll play it and listen to the background just like I would listen to the radio. I
Yes.
normally I've seen the anime enough to I know what they're I know what's going on as long as I can hear what's going on. So I guess
You
that
know,
makes me a nut.
with the tab edition, we are little bit like I am little bit relaxed. Like if I have to take my eyes off the screen, I can do that because I'm listening like what they're talking. But if it's not dub and I'm reading the subtitles, it has to be like that. Like you cannot move your eyes for a second. You will miss something, and
And if
you'll
it's a heavy conversational, like reincarnated as a slime, watching that in sub, you look away. It takes a minute to catch back up, just to where because the conversation throws you off because there's you know animes like that are so heavily conversated, but I don't care. I don't want to wait the extra because the new episode comes out and normally they're subtext, And about 3 weeks into it, at least with this is how Crunchyroll is now, on the third episode that's new, if they're going to dub it, then they will dub that first episode. So you're always like 2, 3 episodes behind on what's being dubbed and what's being subtext. And every time, I don't know about you, but I've noticed when I go back and watch it again, it gives me, it's an excuse to watch it twice. But when you go back and watch it in the dub, I I bet you I missed 20% of the anime. You're catching stuff, all kinds of stuff that you missed, and if they're really good, then I'll go back and watch them a couple of more times. Not always in a row, and some I'll let go, but when they're dubbed, I end up seeing that first, like 1 through 3, those episodes. I'll see them 5, 6 times because every time a new one comes out, I'll go back and play all the ones that were dubbed again because if it's only 3 or 4 episodes, that ain't nothing. I'll go watch all 3 of them again with the next one that's dubbed. So by the time they get all the way around to 12, I've seen one 8 times. So that's what I was saying earlier. I'll skip ahead to 3 or 4 or even 5 and watch 5 through 12 because I've seen 1 through 4 so many times I know it by heart, and it's not interesting to me anymore. And
Yeah, and I think the thing that we have started this anime analytic, it requires this thing like we have to watch 2 3 times to like give it a review because first time there are many things you miss, so you have to go again and watch that again.
well,
And
when I make
most
that
of
schedule, I don't know about you. I know you go back and you're watching it again, or sometimes seeing it for the first time between the time that I always go back and watch it again. Um, uh, this last time I didn't get through Jobless Reincarnation. The last 8 episodes I watched after the show because I didn't get all the way back through all of them because of other stuff going on around me. I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
it it been a good journey like the time we have started and the things we did on the way, and there are many things that are still on the way that we are doing, and hopefully we'll tell the people about that.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a firm believer in you always do your daily work and then you throw in some extras every once in a while. But we wanted to introduce ourselves to you, kind of give you a little bit of background so you know that we're not just now. I'm not always the greatest with all the narrative terminology of the English language, so I don't use all my proper protagonist and story feeds, and I don't use all those, but I'm trying to get back into it because I used to always get A's on my book reports. So I'll get back there, but it's going to take 50 shows by the time I start remembering how to use all that stuff again. But we are definitely going to be here for you if you want anything. Um, if you want anything, us reviewed in particular, you can ask us. Don't hesitate. Just let us know. Let me do this, and you can check us out here. I don't know if that'll show up on the screen. If it will or won't, it might just show up on your screen and not in the video. But you can check any one of our descriptions. Has our Facebook, our Facebook group that we run. It's got the other websites that we broadcast to. Um, but we will be here for you. you won't see us tomorrow, but Monday we'll be back with that time I got reincarnated as a slime. We're gonna
And
stick.
Monday is a holiday, so we will be doing a whole series, not just a season.
Well,
It
I
will be
was thinking about that, and we're not gonna do the movies, so it'll be
okay.
season 1, 2, and 3. Because we're not going to be able to talk about all that in 30 minutes. So we're going to leave the movies out, and we will do the movies individually on a regular weeknight show. We're going to be moving our 30-minute shows to Wednesday instead of making you stay home on a Friday. That way you can go out and enjoy the weekend. And we'll do a regular 10-minute quickie on Friday, knowing that you want to get to partying, so we don't want to interfere with that. We'll keep our long one on Wednesday night on a boring night. That way you got something to listen to if you ain't got nothing else to do. But you got
Yeah, but
anything you want?
the audience who will be like from the trucking industry, like the dispatcher or the trucker, for there, they don't have any weekend.
Well,
Like,
no, I know that, and maybe in the future we'll start doing something steadily on a weekend, but um, it this schedule seems to make a lot of sense that way, and
yes, right.
we don't want to keep you there forever, and also we don't want to make it so long that we're giving away things that are going on. Definitely don't want to do that. So we found that the format we're using, we can get just enough to let you know what's the anime about and whether or not, in our opinion, it's worth checking out, and all the important information about it. Um, but we will try to do our best, and we will get better as we go, and we'll get better equipment as we go. Um, and I'll get back into remembering some stuff. We also will have some other videos coming out that will not be broadcast live. I love doing the shows live, but we will have regular videos coming out as well that we will shoot off time and then um, run everything through a studio and then put it up on YouTube. So, you got
So,
anything else to add?
no, I just wanted to let the guys know that we will be back on Monday
Yep.
and hope they have a good weekend and a long weekend.
Yep. Enjoy your weekend. It is Labor Day weekend. So definitely enjoy your 4-day weekend. And we will see you on Monday. This is the Anime Analyst. I'm your host, Thomas Fry.
And I am the co-host Hasnan Zaidi.
And we'll see